Hi, Vinayak.
Hi, hello Sahil, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good as well. Sure.
So we will be starting out in a few minutes, right? Just let's just start in 2, 3 minutes, right?
Got it.
In the meantime, you can also set up your setup, right, for me, right?
Sure, sure.
As yeah. So, Vinayak, I would like your guidance here for the developers, right? As we posted a poll, right, about how things where at, right? So some people haven't started yet, right? So I would love your guidance over there, how they can start building it, right? Once this workshop gets over, I will be sending them the resources, right, in terms of idea bank. So might be some people are having some problem with the ideas, right? So that part I'll take care, right? So that students have the access to the ideas, right? Please let's focus on the where they can start off with their projects, right?
Sure, sure. I think that sounds good, right? So I can take up some starting points. If there is someone who can, who wants to talk about the problems that they're facing. In the meanwhile, before we start, please feel free to go ahead, ask away any question that you might have, any difficulty that you're facing. Is there someone who has not installed near CLI yet? Anyone who has not installed BlockseBlock? Okay, Prakash has not installed. And have the rest of the people installed it? Okay, good. There are two people who have not installed near CLI yet. So let me quickly share how to install it with you guys so that you guys can then follow me along. Uh, is there uh, is there like can I also have a raise of hands as to how many people have installed near CLI yet? How many of you have a working near environment in your laptops? Okay. What about the rest of the people? Where are they stuck at? Guys, feedback here is very essential. This is not how you guys are going to win the hackathon. So if you guys are stuck at some place, just let me know. I've already texted all of you guys how to get started with near CLI. Just install this command line tool so that you guys can then interact with near from your terminal. All right. Any questions so far? Anyone wants to ask something? Anyone wants to share their idea that this is what they're working on or this is what they're thinking to build? Okay.
I think the majority have joined, right? I think more and more people keep on joining up, right, as and when they have time, right? I think we can
Uh,
start off here, right? So that more and more people will keep on showing up, right? And then we can,
got it.
yeah. So we can start over. Right?
Sure. Let me quickly share my screen and I'll take you through how to build a contract today, right? So we will check out a lot of things today. It's going to be an interesting lecture. If you guys want to follow along, you guys can do so as well, right? Let me just quickly share my screen again. So this is how you guys can install near CLI, provided that you have npm with you. If you do not have npm, just Google install npm Windows or Mac, whatever ecosystem, whatever system you are at, and then you can install npm. After installing npm, you guys can go ahead install the latest version of the near CLI RS. So if I go ahead in my terminal and if I write near version, so I'll get this version. I'm currently working on near CLI RS 0.15.1. right? So this is quite good than the last time that we saw. This version is an updated one. I had the previous version. So it has an interactive near management tool. So you can actually manage all your accounts from here. You can manage your tokens. You can manage your contract. You know, if you are staking on near, then you can also manage your staking positions from here. You can check out transactions, configure connections, right, and manage extensions as well. Quite good, right? So all of these things you can do here within the terminal only. So you don't have to write long commands. So we'll go through this today, and I'll show you guys the commands as well that are being run in the background, right? So that you can have a good look at it. Now, for all of them who have not yet started, right? So what I would recommend everyone do is, they should at least try to get this near CLI working, right? If you have any issues with the CLI, near CLI, please post it in the group so that the team can help you out, right? The first thing that you guys have to do to get started is install this near CLI, right? इसको install किए बिना there is no starting it. The first thing to do is install near CLI. As soon as you've done that, right, you can then move near within the interactive portal that I just show you, right, and then you can export accounts, import accounts, and do all that good stuff with this. So if I do this, if I do near login, right, uh, basically you do not have any you won't really have any account so far in your terminal. So you need a new account. You can just simply do near login, and it will take you to mynearwallet.com on the testnet version of mynearwallet.com. And you can go ahead and then create your own new wallet here. I already have created one, right? So you can go ahead with that process. Let me see if I can create a new one, right? So let me create a new one for you. Come on, maybe some issue here. I might have to unlock. Okay, then I can reserve account ID. So I can now create a new account ID. This is what you will also be shown, right? So let me just create .testnet. So this is my new ID that I'm going to create right now. All right. So I'm going to reserve my account ID, secure passphrase, and this is a passphrase. As I've told you guys before, I'm not going to use this ID. So even if you have it, doesn't matter, right? So I can just copy it, paste it someplace where I can save it. Okay, right now I'll keep it here, right? And then I can continue. I need to mention the word 7 for spell. Difficult word at that. Let's verify. And this will now create my new wallet as soon as this is done. All right. How many of you have created a wallet by far? Can I quickly have a show of hands? All right, 2 people. Anyone else who has created a wallet on here by far? Okay. All right. Anyone following along with me? Is there someone following along with me? Can you please raise your hand if you're following along with me? Okay, great. Great to hear this. Anyone else who's following along with me? Just let me know if I'm going too fast so that I can, slow down for you guys to follow along. What are you not getting, Prakash? Can you unmute yourself, ask a question, or even message in the chat as well?
Hello, sir. Can you? I'm
Hello,
audible, sir.
Prakash. Yes, yes, you are.
Sir, I'm
Please go
not
ahead.
getting anything, sir. What is, sir? What is NPM and all?
Okay, so you don't. Are you from coding background though?
Yes, sir. I'm from cybersecurity background.
Okay, so have you ever worked with Node applications?
No, sir.
Got it. So npm is a package manager. It's a node package manager. Okay. So what it does is it has. So you are from cybersecurity background. Which language have you worked in?
Python, sir.
Python. Okay. So can you name a package of Python that you have used?
Package. I'm not getting, sir. Which kind of package?
So all right. Maybe have you heard of the tool Wireshark?
Yes, sir. Wiresharks. Yes, sir.
You have heard of the tool Wireshark? How do you
Yes, sir.
use it with Python?
सर नेटवर्क के स्कैन करते हैं सर उसे।
हाँ नेटवर्क स्कैन करते हैं पर पाइथन में कैसे यूज कर सकते हैं उसको वायरशार्क
सर
को?
वो सब नहीं किया है सर, पाइथन से यूज कर।
वो नहीं किया ना आपने. गॉट इट. तो दैट इज व्हाई यू डोंट नो व्हाट अ पैकेज मैनेजर इज, क्योंकि वायरशार्क का भी पैकेज मैनेजर आता है पाइथन के लिए. ठीक है. तो पैकेज मैनेजर, व्हाट आर पैकेज मैनेजर्स? दे गिव यू सॉफ्टवेयर्स बेसिकली. ठीक है. npm will give you more softwares to handle. जैसे let me see if I can quickly. Sorry, man. Let me just complete this and I'll come back to you. Okay. So right now it is asking for my. Uh, right now I've created a new wallet. I'll click next and I'll connect. Okay. Probably this might not work. Let me see. Okay, it does. So it is asking for my account ID and I'll go for. I just need to complete this so that I don't have to do this again, man. All right. Sorry about that. So I need to enter my account ID that I just created here and it will log me in. And I'll store the key access in the keychain, right? So this is an access key that I'll store in the keychain. All right. Now let me quickly go to the last uh, package that we created, right? Hello near contract. This was something that we created yesterday. This is the basically this right now is on JavaScript and TS. All right. So this right now is working with the package manager with npm basically package.json. Wherever you find package.json, this means that it is a node project, right? And it has some dependencies like near sdk.js is a dependency. So near sdk.js now is a package that is installed using npm, right? So use I can install any package using npm I, right? So if I want to install near SDK.js, then I can install using npm, right? Or if I want to install near CLI, so I can install npm I near CLI, whatever the command was, right? And -g for global installation, so that it installs not just for this project, but for my entire application. So it's more like, if I have to say it in one line, npm is basically it installs softwares for you or packages for you in your PC. All right. This is how you are installing near CLI. Have I answered your question, man? I've never explained npm to anyone. Prakash, are we good?
Yes, sir.
Should I? So, what you need to do to actually run this command, right? So, let me get to that as well. There might be some people that are new to it. So, install Node.js first of all, right? On whatever platform you are on. If you are on Windows, you can go ahead install it from here. Okay, Node.js. So once you have installed it, right, it installs Node as well as it installs npm, both of them for you. All right. So this is how you can go for Windows installation. Just have to run this in your terminal and you're done. Right? So let me just paste this here quickly so that all of you guys can go for this as well. Okay. As soon as you're done with it, you can then go ahead and install near CLI and then follow the processes that I'm just telling you to follow. Anyone else who has a question or is not able to follow along, like I'm happy to answer them right away. We have a we have time, right? So we can do that before we jumpstart and go to contract section. Prakash, are we good?
Yes, sir. I'm doing.
Got it. Go ahead. Anyone else, guys? all of the other who else have the same issue that Prakash had, that you guys didn't had like npm or anything to install it? Anyone else who had the same issue? Okay, so are you now following along? Well, I'm assuming you're following along. No worries. Anyone who has a question, can you please unmute yourself and ask? Or shall we move forward? You guys can reply with a raise hand as well for this question. If you guys are comfortable moving forward, please raise your hand. Anyone following along? Okay, all right. So let's Prakash, let's move forward. Okay,
Yes, sir.
डन. चलो अब हम यहाँ से एक काम करते हैं. ठीक है, we know how to log into near now, so if I check near again, ठीक है, and I go to accounts from here, then I will see that I have a lot of things I can now select from. View account summary, import account, export account. So I can also import an account, right? So let's check out the summary for our account. Okay. My account is this one and it is on testnet, right? And I want to view properties for the final block. So it will show me all my properties that are associated with my account. There it is. So my native account balance right now is 10 near. I think this is something that you will get once you create an account. These are testnet near that probably were credited to me as soon as I created this account, right? So otherwise it would have been zero near. My validator's stake is zero. I do not have staked any near in the validator node, right? My storage used is 346 bytes, right? And this I do not have a contract code right now. So I do not have a contract deployed on this ID yet. Okay. So in near, every blockchain basically have their own fundas here. So in near blockchain, the address that you have can deploy just one contract. If you want to deploy more contracts, then you need more addresses. How do you get more addresses? So you can create sub accounts like this. So right now this is a registrar account. So you can create sub accounts out of a registrar account like this. So basically you guys can also create a new account by the name of sub1 dot vinayak777 dot testnet. This is how you guys can create a new testnet account. All right. Uh, which will be a derivative of your existing account. So you need the private keys of this account to actually create a sub account. And you can then have multiple contracts on your multiple sub accounts. You can always have sub one, sub two, sub three, sub four, an infinite number of sub accounts. All right, can be created from one singular registrar. I think it's capped at 32 accounts, so we need to check that. All right. And I also have three full access keys. So there are three applications that have full access to my account. So they can basically do anything with my account. In Near, the dApps, they function using access keys. There are some function full access keys and some function call only access keys. The function call only access keys can only call functions of that contract stored within this uh, account, right? Full access keys will have the entire access. So you can transfer funds. You can basically do anything from full access keys, right? So generally all the wallets will have full access keys and the rest of the dApps will probably have function call only access, right? So this is how access levels are maintained or security is maintained for every ID on Near. Now, if you remember, we had a contract yesterday. Uh, Let me go through the JavaScript contract only. So this was our JavaScript contract that we created. Let me just create it anew. I think that would be a better alternative. So I can go to docs, then I can go to smart contracts, building smart contracts, quick start. And we had our command right here for JavaScript, npm create near app at latest, npx. Let me run this command, and I can create a smart contract for JSCS contract by the name of first near project, right? And I want to run npm install as well. So it's fairly simple. You just have to keep on selecting what is it that you need, and then you guys can create a new project. Right now, I'm creating a new project, right, so that we can then start learning about the contracts. Any questions so far?
Hi guys, please feel free to ask questions in the chat box, right? Or you can unmute yourself, right? Because that is the purpose of having these workshops, right? So anytime you feel like in your preferred language, whether Hindi, whether English, right, you can turn on your mic, right? And put forward your question to Vinayak, right? Because not every day you'll get to one-on-one with Vinayak, right? So I would really love Block community to take full advantage, right, of expertise, right, of Vinayak, right? As some of you might know or not aware, right? Because Vinayak was not a originally coder, right? He's not from a coding background. He was a mechanical engineer, right? But due to his understanding of tech, right, in the last like you know 9 years, right, he have devoted himself to code, coding, right, working with companies like Infosys, ICICI Bank, right, and now having his own company of 125 plus developers, right. So I would really appreciate the community to ask any questions that you might be having regarding this year hackathon, right? That how to build the project, how to start. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Sahil. Yeah, I'll definitely appreciate it, guys. No question is a bad question, right? So no one will be judging you here, as Sahil has already mentioned you my background. So I would be the last one to judge anyone here, right? So please feel free to ask uh, any question that you have. So right now, I'll open this project up in Visual Studio Code, right? So the project that we just created, this is a new project right now, and this is Visual Studio Code, guys. Just for them who doesn't know like what this is. This is an IDE. I have opened my project that I just created here in this IDE. So what I did was primarily this. So in my documents, in my delete folder, basically I just created a new project using that command, first near project. So this is the folder that I'm opening up here in this Visual Studio folder, right? The first near project folder. So you guys can also do it. If you guys are not that handy with terminal, it's all right. You guys can simply go to your folder wherever you created it. So I created it in my delete folder, right? So probably I'll delete it, after my workshop is over. Like I created it in my delete folder. You guys can create it anywhere you want to, right? Run the terminal anywhere, and then you can open up your project like this, file, open, and then open up your project from wherever that project is, right? So right now it is in my delete folder. It's here, right? So you guys can also open it just like this in your Visual Studio Code. Why is it important to open up a project like a workspace? Is because then you can use the terminal from the Visual Studio Code and do whatever it is that you guys want to do, right? So you can you can deploy your contract from here. You can basically do anything, right? And my terminal will open up in my root directory, which is first near project, which simplifies things a lot in development, right? So these are some very small things which eventually become a lot bigger, right? Now we have our contract here, this one. All right. So let's just go through this contract again, right? Just to see what all are the things that we can do with this. Okay. So first of all, before going through the contract, let me just see which let me show you guys how can we deploy this contract, right? So we just checked that we have a balance of 10 year with us. All right. So what if we do not have a balance of 10 years with us? In that case, you guys can check out near faucet, which this one, nearfaucet.io, which will give you testnet near in your account, right? So if I go for token near wallet address vinayak777.testnet and amount 10, and if I request it, it is going to send me 10 near, right? So I think this is a good uh, application for everyone. All right. Ruchi, I think it is already recorded, so it's all right. Even if you do not record it, it's fine. You guys can ask it from the team. Is Solidity better or JavaScript for compiling smart contract? Drushya. Uh, well, it actually, you know, if it comes to languages, like which language is actually better, it doesn't really matter because right now, even if your code is in JavaScript, it is basically compiled in WASM and then uploaded. So let me just quickly show you what how that happens. And because it is compiled in WebAssembly language, even if it is in JavaScript or in Solidity, at least on near, it is going to be compiled in WebAssembly. So it is going to be one and the same thing. Like it doesn't really matter eventually, right? The features that these languages support are what matters. I think on near JavaScript or Rust, both of them, they support equal amount of things. There might be some changes once you move to the Aurora track, once you move to Solidity, and then try to build it on Solidity. Yes, there is a Solidity track as well, guys. Please make sure that you explore it for Hackathon. And if you know Solidity, you utilize that Solidity track to build your project on here. All right. I hope I've answered your question. Moving forward. Now, let me quickly deploy this project for you guys. Let me show you how to deploy this project. So let's just do one thing. Let's just go here and type near. All right. In the root directory, and I'll go to contract and I'll go to deploy. So it deploys the contract to my ID. So I want to deploy it to vinayak777.testnet, right? I want to deploy it to this ID. What is the file location of the contract, right? So this is a good thing. Right now I don't have it with me, so I need to compile it first. So that I get the WASM. This file location that it is asking is the location of the WASM file that I was just talking about, right? So let me just quickly see and mm, compile it. Yep. So we need to run this to build it. npm run build to build the project. So if you want to check out what build command does this, right? So it builds the project for us, and it uses near SDK.js and the build functionality of near SDK.js and builds the contract into a WASM file, which is a WebAssembly module. If I run npm run build, it should compile and create a build folder with my WASM files, probably in a minute. Let me check if I have a question in the meanwhile. Okay, wait. Great. So the build is completed, and as soon as you go to build, you'll see a hello near.wasm uh, here in the build folder, which is what we need to deploy our project. So if I go ahead and type near again, and if I go to contract, deploy, testnet, file location of the contract is Now, this is why ID is very important, right? So you can just right click it here, right? And copy relative path. So it will copy the relative path from the root directory to this directory. So if I paste it here, you'll see it has build slash hello dot near dot wasm as my file location from my root directory, which is fine, right? You guys can also copy the normal path. That will also work. It just needs where your wasm is located, right? It needs the address for that. As soon as you press enter, so you have two options here. Do you want to use an init call or do you want to do it without an init call? What does an init call means is something that I'll discuss, probably in a couple of minutes. Right now, we do not have an init call, an initialization call. So we'll go without an initialization call and I'll press enter. What is the name of the network? We are working on testnet for now, right? And I want to sign with keychain my transaction and I want to send my transaction to the network, right? I can either save to file or display, but what I want to do is I want to send the transaction. So I'll just simply click send. It is sending the transaction to the blockchain. This is the RPC that they are using, right? The gas, the contract code has been successfully deployed. This much gas has burnt. Transaction fees is this much near, right? This is the transaction ID. If you want to check out the transaction, you can simply control click on this Explorer link for the transactions. So we have the transaction here. Let's check it out on near blocks. Basically, we have two explorers, and there it is. The transaction is successful, right? And a contract has been deployed. This is the command that was run in the background where we selected a contract to deploy by the ID of the 9777.testnet. And we have used a file build slash hello near.wasm, which was without an init call. Network configuration was testnet and signed with keychain, and we sent this transaction. So these were the commands that were run in the background to execute this. So this is what our near CLI is going to handle for us. But these commands are essential once you have to call them again and again. So you guys can simply run a manual script eventually if you want to. Right now, you don't have to worry about it. All right. So great. We have successfully deployed our first contract. Anyone who is following along facing issues and haven't reached here? Any questions so far?
Also, guys, I have just shared the link to the all the track prices, right? So you can go through this document, right? And check out all the prices, right? That the Vinayak was mentioning that there is a solidity track. So in solidity track, how's the linkage between near blockchain and EVM compatibility is through Aurora. So there is a special price of $65,000 for people using this solidity and building in this hackathon, right? So apart from the a complete $1 million prize pool, there is this dedicated $65,000 for this thing. So please do check out this document as well once the workshop gets over.
Great. So let me check the chat as well. Okay, we're good. So let me move forward near CLI. Okay, so let's just try to call a function of this contract, right? So we have two functions here. One is get greeting and one is set greeting, right? So let's just try and run these two functions and see what is it that is going to happen now, right? Okay, so as you see here, get greeting is a view only function. I mentioned this in our last session as well, that view functions are read only and can be called for free. So no gas is required. Nothing in fees is going to be deducted for a view only function, but fees is going to be deducted for a call function, right? So let's just go ahead and try to run these two functions. So if I go ahead, type near, I can go again to contract. Now I will have to choose a call function, right? So because we are trying to call a function, and this is what I have to choose. I have to choose either I have to call a read only function or I have to read as transaction. So it has already mentioned here that if you want to call a view only function, use as read only, and if you want to call a change method, or if you want to change the state of the contract, then you call as transaction, because then you have to do a transaction on chain. Right now we are calling a read only function. So let us go ahead with as read only. I want to use my account ID Vinayak777.testnet that has this contract. As I've already mentioned, one ID will have one contract only. So it will search for a contract, and it is right now asking me for the name of the function. Let us give it get greeting as the name of the function, right? And it will ask you which parameters would you like to pass, how you want to pass the parameters. If it is a JSON argument, then you have to pass it like this, or this if there are no arguments, right? In our case, we don't have an argument here. We are going to pass it as an empty JSON, right? So let's go for JSON args, pass it as an empty JSON, just two curly braces. That's it, right? And the network is testnet. And I want to obviously check the properties in the latest block. So as you see, it gives me the result hello. Why does this gives me the result hello? Because as you see, we have initialized our variable greeting as hello in the uh, construct before uh, before the set greeting, we've already initialized it to a value hello here. So this is why this value hello is being returned here in the get greeting function. Now let's see if we can call this set greeting function. Now let's just figure this out. What exactly is set greeting function doing? Set greeting function takes a greeting variable, which in turn is a string, right? And it is setting greeting variable as the input that we're giving to set greeting, right? The input right now is greeting as a variable, and whatever the greeting is that you want to store instead of hello, that you can use here, right? So it's basically one singular JSON object right here, right? Now let me quickly go through near again. Near contract, I need to call a function, but this time we're going to call a transaction function. And from my ID, Vinayak777.testnet, and it is asking me the name of the function. The name of the function is set greeting, and I want a JSON argument, right? And my arguments would be greeting, because my variable name right now is greeting, right? And I need to pass a string for greeting. The value that I want to replace in of hello, I need to pass, let's just say, hey, yeah. Enter gas, let's go for this. And in gas, near returns you back the gas that is not consumed. So you can give near uh, more gas, it will always return back the gas for you, right? And then you enter deposit for a function called 10 near 5 near. We don't want to call a deposit call right now. Right now this value is 0 near. We don't want to call on a function with some near with our transaction. So what this is saying basically is, you can actually call a transaction with the function name and send some near along with the transaction for this function to compute. I'll show you guys how this happens, so that your contract can then take some near, right, and then do some stuff with that near, and maybe return it to multiple people. So supposedly your contract maybe takes 10 near, right? And in the contract you took 10 near, and then you distributed those 10 nears to maybe two of your friends, right? 5 near to one friend, 5 near to another friend. This is what you can do with the contract. So right now we are not transferring any near, so we can safely assume that it is 0. Let's go ahead with it. right? And the signet account ID is my account ID. I'll go with vinayak777.testnet. I would be the one to call it. I can call it using this ID as well, but we'll just go with this one. What is the name of the network? Testnet again. And I want to sign my transaction with the keychain, right? And again, obviously, I want to send my transaction now. Great. So the transaction has been successful. Gas has been burnt. So the transaction has succeeded. Now let's try to call the get function again, right? So if you remember, we have this command here, right? So if I do this, paste it here, there's one more thing I can do basically. This command had a call function which was as read only, and we were calling a get creating function, right? So you don't have to always go through this interactive playground. You can simply just go come here, paste the above call. I have not used this because my near is already in my environment variable, so it should call this, right? And I didn't have to go through the entire process of doing all that stuff from an interactive space. I simply just copy pasted the command. I can do it right now again and then run it. It will still give me my result area, which means that our set greeting function now has worked. This is how a contract functions, guys, right? This is how a basics of contracts they run. So this is a view function, this is a call function, right? And you can keep on moving forward. You can have some more variables here, some more things here, right? Just like for example, probably maybe some of you might even want to create a post type architecture here, like maybe like medium or forums, something like that. It's a it's a good way of learning contracts. So this is generally what I give. Like for the first 2 or 3 hours, you can try and modify this contract, right, to create a post type architecture like Medium. So what does a post type architecture mean? You can have a title, description, right, image for the post, these three variables, right, and then you can store them, right, and you can get them. So if you want to, learn a lot about how to actually code, you can then go for some posts per specific user. So you can store posts per users, right? So if I'm a user, Vinayak77.testnet has like 10 posts, maybe Vinayak001 has maybe like 100 posts. So if you want, you can store posts based on users, right? And how can you actually do that? It's fairly simple, you know. Through collections. This is how you do it, right? So collections are arrays, vectors, sets, hash maps. So basically, what you would need is a map, right? Which works in a key value pair, or a hash map which works in a key value pair, right? Or where you have a key based on your address, and then in value you basically store an array of posts, and all of these variables could actually go inside another class that you can create with some properties here, right? And all of these things can actually go there, right? So let me show you how does that look. So this is how it looks. So let me just try and copy it all and paste it here for our better understanding. All right, giving some errors. That's all right. Let's just go through this contract once, right? And what does it does? What does it do basically? So it has a class bidder, a class bid, which has a bidder, which is an account ID. Account ID on near is simply your account, basically, from which you are calling. So, uh, like I was calling my contract through Vinayak 777.testnet. So that is what my account ID is. So I'm calling my contract to my account ID, right? So here in bidder we have defined account ID as one variable, then bid as a big int. So big int is generally used to store big integer. Now with near, uh, you know, the base unit of near is very low, right? So one near could actually be one times 10 raised to the power of 24, I believe, the octonier. So which is a lot, right? So one times, if you go ahead and type 24 zeros, this is how much one near is in octonier, and your contract takes near in octonier only. So most of the integers that you're going to send, most of the money that you're going to send, you're going to handle it using big int, because your base unit is octonier and your contract will only accept octoniers. All right. So then this is basically just a simple class, guys. Then nothing big about it, right? So this is the definition of a class with two attributes, a bidder and a bid, right? And then we have at the rate near binds gen, require init as true. So what does this statement means? At near bind gen uh, basically defines which class after your near bind gen is your contract. So class auction contract right now is my contract here, right? So if I just all right, okay. So if I do this right in my contract.ts itself and I delete my bid.ts, you see errors have disappeared. Right now, my contract is here attached to near binds and my contract class is auction contract, right? And my class has highest bid as one attribute, auction end time as the other, right? Auctioneer and claimed. These are all my class attributes. So these attributes are my state variables. So every contract, every blockchain, every database has something that it needs to store, right? And persist state. What does that mean? So you keep on updating your blockchain, you keep on updating things, right? But these things, whenever you call them back, you'll probably get the values that were updated by the last calls. They will persist state these variables, right? So their scope is actually more like a global scope where all of these uh, variables are going to be stored in this contract itself, right? So you have highest bid, auction end time, auctioneer, and claim. This is a contract to auction, right? To bid money on probably a resource. All right. So highest bid is of type bid, which again is a class which we have bidder and bid. Bid we have initialized as zero, bidder we have initialized as an empty string. Auction end time is zero for now. Auctioneer is an empty account ID. Claimed is a boolean which is false. We have not claimed anything yet, right? And require init true. What this means is we require an initialization function to run before anything else. So once we are deploying this contract, while we were deploying it, if you remember, then it asks us if we need to initialize our contract or we do not want to initialize it. What do initialization mean? Initialization is just like a constructor of a class. So it will run before any other function can run. So if initialization runs before any other function can run, so you can use this function to assign some default values to your attributes. All right. This is what initialization function is used for. Once you have initialized your attributes, you can then go ahead and use the functions or to basically manipulate your data and everything, right? Now, initialization and private function true. Private function true, what what does that mean? Now, initialization could not be called by every address out there. Initialization could only be called by the one who has created this contract or a contract in itself, right? So there are like two ways this initialization function can be called. Then the next thing is add call payable function true. Now this is one more addition, payable function true to this code, to this code which was not there earlier in the hello contract. When we define a payable function true, this means that this function right now is going to take some near from us, right? So it will take some near tokens from us. If we do not send it some near tokens, this call is going to fail. The amount of near token is not mentioned in this function. Bid is the function that we're going to call. The amount is not mentioned, anything is not mentioned. So we can basically send any amount of near which is greater than 0. It is basically asserting if the auction end time is greater than the block timestamp. So it has to be a future time, the auction end time. Uh, right? So only then this can actually function. And then we can basically bid. We also have a bidder, right? So you can check out attached deposit. Attached deposit now is a function of near, and predecessor account ID is also a function of near. Uh, so bid basically, bidder is the account ID that is calling this function. Bid is the attached deposit, how much you are sending near with this function call. These two functions are an attribute of near itself. So near's uh, near these are some functions of near inherent functionality. So if anyone of you knew Solidity, you know what msg.caller is, right? So something like that is what this does for you on near, right? Then you're basically checking if the bids are if the bid is greater than the last bid if you had one, right? And if it is not, then it mentions that you need to place a higher bid, the higher bid, and then you can then save the new highest bid in the highest bid section, right? And then you can return this promise back, and as well as transfer the tokens back to the last bidder. This is how you do it, right? And once the auction is over, once the auction is finished, you can call this function claim, which will then claim the token or claim claim the highest number of tokens that were there, and then you'll basically get back those tokens in your claim, right? And then there is a function to get the highest bid and the function to get the auction end time. The most important thing is this payable function that you guys need to understand how to send near to the contract and then do something with those nears within that contract, right? Any questions so far, guys? Anyone? You guys can mention it in the chat box if you like. Waiting for some questions and give me a second as well in the meanwhile, guys. If there was someone following along, were they able to successfully deploy a contract? Anyone who's successfully able to deploy a contract? Okay, no one. So guys, let me take some questions from here. I think that is the best way around for you guys to finish. You're quite late to the party, I believe. The party started like an hour earlier. So I was just showing them, how to deploy a contract on Near. Have you deployed one, Tanish? Hmm. Good, good. Ah, that's nice. That's nice. Good to hear. Anyone else who has some issues, who wants to, raise some questions here? I would really appreciate if you guys can try, building the post canister just for your exercise today, so that you guys know how to actually build it, how to get started building a contract, right? Uh, so basically try to build one, right? And you might be able to find that open source as well. If you Google it on GitHub, a lot of people would have created a post contract for Near, right? And then you can try and check it out, run through some examples, right? So run through some tutorials as well. Let me share. So there is, this tutorial here. So you guys can actually go through this tutorial as well, and it will give you guys step-by-step guide to almost do everything, right? I've shared it in the chat box. So this tutorial can also help you create some stuff. And if you are facing any issue, please just message us on the group so that we can help you out, right? Tanishk has a question. Side, I believe you are the one who can answer this. If Tanishk has a question, if we can make multiple submissions.
Yes, yes. Tanish, you can make multiple submissions. There are multiple tracks, right? So obviously you can make multiple submissions, right? On the first time, to be on the safer side, I would suggest you to complete one project first, right? Get it delivered so that you are in the mix of things when they are looking for a project for the hackathon, right? So it's better to firstly submit one project and then you start over the second project, right? So it's better for that.
Great.
Guys, like the WhatsApp group is there, right? Please join that group, right? If you need any help, right? We will be helping you out, right? Do participate into this, right? If you have any questions, please forward it here, right? You can unmute yourself or you can put it in the chat box, right? How you are starting off, any problem with the code or anything, will surely help you. Please use this opportunity.
I think we can now take questions in the WhatsApp group side. If let's just let's just make sure that everyone tries it once.
Sure,
Once they've tried it, I think they will have more questions. If you guys need any assistance, just feel free to ask questions, guys. That is the only way you guys are going to, go through your troubles. So let's just do that. All right.
sure, sure.
Over
Vinay.
to you.
Anything else, Vinayak, you wanted to mention, or we are done with the
I
workshop,
think
right?
I think we are good. We will in the workshop. So this is the basic contract deployment. I think if everyone can get a hand on it, they will be able to deploy contract easily.
So guys, please do try out, right, and start building your project, right. And in case you feel any problem, face any issue, right, do drop us a message, right, and we'll revert back to you on the WhatsApp group, right, or you can DM us or our team, right. Looking forward to next workshop. So the third workshop, the final workshop before the hackathon submission date 25th is on the Friday, right. So workshops will get over, but our support won't, right? So, you can keep on asking us questions. You can get the support one-to-one sessions and all, right? That will be there, right? I am assuming that, we are the most populous country, right? Even if we cannot get the majority, right? I'm assuming we are getting 10% of the price. So that is $90,000, right? So people who are joining up here in this poll, I would really, really would like to request your efforts into this, right? And Let's see, like, if we can get at least 10%, 90,000 to year banta hai, right? So let's go for it, right? Let's see how it pans out, right? So looking forward to your project stage, and if you face any problem, you can write to us on the WhatsApp message. So let's end this workshop here, unless somebody has any questions. Right? You can raise your hand, or we can, like, end this workshop right away. I would love to say thanks again, Vinayak, right, for
No
joining
worries.
up here, right?
Thank
So
you
thank
for
you so
having me.
much. Yeah, thank you so much for coming over, right? Would love your presence here on Friday as well, right? So that we can complete the last workshop as well.
Absolutely.
Tanishk has a question to the hackathon. So Tanishk, there are multiple people who are into this, but we are the only ones who are into India, right? So the entire Indian developers are under our purview. So all the hackathon submission that is going from India will be done from BlockseBlock. So I think no more question was there, right? Thank you guys. So let's connect back on Friday, right? Thank you.